Hey there YouTube, my name is Brad, I'm the Harley Davidson Wizard. This video is just a combination of two older videos where I was using the JIMS 5517 shifter mechanism replacement tool where it presses the sleeve out of the transmission case without having to remove the whole gear set. I was so happy and impressed with using the tool that I just combined both videos of the disassembly and the reassembly together for its own video. But check the description. There's a link down in the description where you can go and purchase this tool. It's excellent. I highly recommend it. Here we're going to try using our JIMS tool number 5517. And I've read the directions up to this point. It says remove the primary, remove the trans top cover, disconnect the battery, all of that stuff, remove the shifter lever and the snap ring. That's what we've done. And that's all like the normal chain of operations. The unusual part that I'm going to change up, well, it's not unusual, but it says to remove the seal here and then continue on with using their tool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the centering screw, and then I'm going to slide the shift mechanism back as far as I can because the diameter of it drops down. And then once we get it through the seal, that'll give me a little bit of room. The most important thing to do now is don't do something stupid and scratch the bore. The easiest way to do something stupid is to scratch this bore with this pick. I'm going to go what I think is the smart route. Pull the centering screw, push the mechanism back, get in with a pick, and pull the seal out. So, knock on wood. Here we go. Nothing unusual. I was just looking at the centering screw. There's nothing unusual there. That thing worked out like a charm. I've never tried that before. But like it got in there and I'd probably already loosened it up, but it's got a bunch of dirt and crap in there. That is unusual. They usually aren't packed full of dirt. And then it says remove that, remove centering screw, remove shifter paw spring, which it was. Oh, remove shifter paw spring off the shifter paw so it's able to rotate upward. Alright, and then it has us remove the shifter paw spring. It's this thing. It just kind of peels up and over the side. And then it says lift that thing upward. So it's free to rotate upward. Insert tool number 5517-3. That's number 3. It's that thing. It says insert this thing. Remover guide into seal bore. Alright. That looks pretty friggin' dope. You see that thing? Cool. I like that. That looks good. Using the driver, insert the smaller stepped end into the remover. I'm sure that's this thing. Let's double check. Like it could only be one other thing, but yep, dash one. It's that thing. Insert that thing into there. I like that. Using a brass hammer, tap driver until sleeve is free of transmission case bore. Be sure the shifter paw is pointing upward and forward towards the rear cylinder so that it clears. Alright, I got a brass hammer. I'm going to get tapping on that. It says to make sure That thing is backing up. Alright, like I've said, I've never done this before, but here we go. Cover your ears. You know what? I'm going to put ear protection on myself. Now, I might speed this up, but I'm going to go very slowly and delicately and see where we end up. Oh, that's friggin' awesome. Look how sweet that is. Oh man, that's so friggin' awesome. That JIMS tool worked out so awesome. You know, I'd much rather have money in my pocket, but you know, sometimes you just have to have the right tools. And that was definitely it. And right when we pulled the shifter paw out, I saw the problem. Alright, if you didn't see it before, here is the tool that we use to remove the shifter shaft sleeve and also the shifter mechanism. This is the new one, but this is the 3-piece tool. So this is from JIMS. It's part number 5517. So it should go back together basically in the same way that it came apart, just in reverse. I haven't read the directions yet, so we're going to be doing it both at the same time. But let's get the shifter mechanism back in, and then we should be driving the sleeve in from the outside. And let's get going. So here's the shifter, the new shifter mechanism. It had us pull back that top spring before, and then the whole assembly should slide in there. Let me get in there. Oh, I remember. I think it did. I think it had to come out like that and then rotate up. Let's try that. Oh, there we go. It is like it's a very close fit. You gotta wiggle it in there just right. But our new shifter mechanism's in there. Let's read them directions. All right. So replace the shifter lever assembly in the case without the sleeve. Insert new sleeve onto that part of the tool. Number 2. Is that right? Insert new sleeve into number, I'm just saying 2 installer guide. Alright, so here's that number 2. It said, oh, so it does. It fits right inside. Oh, there's a little bit of a lip. Like, it's such a little lip, I couldn't even really see it in real life. It's so slides in like that. That's pretty dope. Then insert into transmission case using the driver. It's that big dog. Tap until it bottoms out on the number 2 installer guide. Alright, so that makes sense. Like, this part must be indexed off of that bore, and then our installer will bottom out right when it's perfectly flat. So that makes sense. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this just so I'm not like ramming things together dry. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on the outside and a little bit of oil on the inside. It looks like it has a little more taper on this side, so I'm going to get that side going in the transmission first. And then we're going to tap it with a brass hammer and see how it goes. But that looks pretty, that's a pretty nifty little setup. Alright, now we're back. We're cleaned up. We got oil on it. So it looks like it should slide on just like that. And you get it started just like that. I don't know if the GoPro can get in this close. Alright, and then I just want to make sure that the shifter lever isn't like binding up or something crazy. So we're just going to go slow. Go slowly. Alright, just making sure everything's still nice and free. That's good. Alright, you could hear an audible difference right there at the end. Alright, that is looking mighty sweet right there. Alright, let's get our spot cleaned up and we'll put the rest of this together and then push the seal in. I don't know how much of a view is going to pop up, but our metal bushing is perfectly placed. The aluminum bore is completely not gouged. It looks beautiful. That is excellent. So we're going to go back up here and then put our spring back up here where it's supposed to be. Just like that. And I'm just going to flop it over like that. And then on the inside, maybe you can get a view, we're going to be pushing our neutral detent screw right in between those two springs. So let's do that now. That goes right here. So we've got a new one of these to install. I always like installing these, like if I have to replace them for whatever reason. I like to install new ones because it has this really good lock patch on it, and that keeps oil from leaking out of there, but you could reuse it if you had to. So we're going to go in slowly, and I'm going to push this shifter assembly backwards a little bit. Actually, I'm going to undo that spring again. Give me a little more room, because it's tight quarters in there. But I can reach through the back of it and feel the center of the spring. And that's where the pin is going to go. It's going to go in between those two tabs that are sitting up. So I'm just going in slowly. We're on the wrong side of it. Alright, now I'm going to torque this bolt down to spec. Alright, you won't be able to tell, but I'm going to look down in there. Maybe you will be able to tell. You can see the spring, that little black rod I just put through there, and it's in between the two ears. So that's installed correctly. Everything's looking good there. Now we're going to get this guy back the way he's supposed to be. Okay, make sure she's fully pulled up. That's good. That's good. It should move one way. It should move the other way. Oh, it feels so much better. So now, next thing I'm going to do before I put the cover on, I'm going to put the seal and then the little metal washer thing and the little snap ring thing, because I want to make sure this is all perfect before I put the trans top cover on and put the rest on. So let's get going with that. The way I do this, I'm sure there's a fancy tool out there, but you can tell where it's splined, and then there's a little ridge in it for a snap ring, and then the shaft expands a little bit where the seal sits. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clean the splined area with the multi-purpose solvent, and I'm going to wrap just one layer of green tape around it and make sure that it covers the splines and that little drop down area for the snap ring. And then I'm going to oil the outside of the green tape, and I'm going to use, I believe it's a 7/16 socket. That's the perfect size for the seal, and it should just slip right in. That way I'm not damaging the seal on any of the splines or this machined area. But let's get to doing that. I clean it so that the tape sticks pretty well. You don't want to go back too far, because if it gets stuck under the seal after you install it, it's a pain in the butt. So like right there, I'm just ripping off the extra, rolling it over, and then I like to make like a little Tootsie Roll type of deal out of it. Alright, I said 7/16 earlier, I was incorrect, it's 1/2 inch. But with my socket, it has just a narrow enough ridge where it sits just right on the outside perimeter of the seal, and it doesn't touch the inner dust lip. The seal already has like grease on it, I'm sure for installation purposes, but we're going to shoot a little bit of oil on there. Just like that. And then I coat the tape with it. Then I slide it over the tape. And then I get it started just by hand. And then it usually just, you get it lined up just right. And then it usually just can sit right in there. Alright, and then I'm just going to bop it with my dead blow hammer to seat it in that bore. Alright, that's looking pretty good. You don't have to go crazy with it. Like, it's just a little rubber seal. You just be careful. Then you want to make sure that your shifter lever's all the way out. And then I get in there with my flashlight and I look, I'm like blowing the picture out, but I look super close and make sure that there isn't any evidence of like a rip or a little like rubber, like sometimes like if something wrong happens, not on the seal, on like any type of seal, you'll see like a little rubber piece that's kind of caught something sharp and peeled off. So I get in there and we look real close, but everything looks good. Try to find the edge that I started the tape on, like right there, and undo it. And that thing is installed perfectly. So now everything goes back together just like normal. I just wanted to put that out there for you. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.